We are going to go over this assignment, your final assignment. This is going to be the last big boy you're going to do with Huck Finn. I hope that reading it has been helpful and that you've been able to think and process. And I am very sad, actually, that we are not able to be together to talk about the ending. So for my description here, I'm actually going to jump to the bottom and tell you what you're doing first and then go back to the beginning and give you some of the context. You're going to write for me a short reflection. It's going to be 1 to 2 pages, double spaced. You're going to turn it into Google Classroom. I'm going to put an assignment in there that's just a blank document, so please format it like you would a normal paper. If you use any sources that are outside of the book and the things that I give you, the movie, etc., please obviously cite your sources, but you'll turn it into Google Classroom. The due date for the paper I'm about to describe to you is very flexible. On Moodle, it says Thursday, April 2. I put that because I want you to be able to have a spring break if you are able to. I know that we're not supposed to travel, and I know it's not going to be the most exciting spring break, but I also want you to have a break if you want it and need it. However, if this week is crazy, or if you simply know you want something to do, or for whatever reason you don't want to turn the paper in on Thursday, just shoot me an email and let me know when into spring break, or even at the end of spring break, or whatever, when makes sense for you to turn this paper in. So, talk to me about due dates. So here is the basic prompt. You are going to start your paper with this line, if you choose to. You don't have to, but I'm giving you the first line, which is kind of helpful, I hope. After reading Huck Finn and watching the film Harriet, I'm a better person because blank. And I want you to fill that blank in with whatever is true and honest and meaningful to you. It might be because of this specific moment. It might be I'm a better person because this is something that I learned. It might be I'm a better person because here's what I'm thinking. Really fill in that blank with as much or as little as you want to. I do want to say, though, that if you don't think that you are a better person because maybe this book didn't hit you or change you, you can have a different first line. So if you want to simply talk about what you were thinking about or why you're not a better person, or maybe you honestly want to say, you know what, I'm not a better person. I think Huck Finn made me think, but here's where I'm still apathetic, or here's where I'm still struggling, right? I would rather you be honest than, try to come up with something fake there. So if you struck with that first line, let me know. But if you legitimately think that you're a better person, I think I'm a better person because I did these two things. So, that can be your opening line right there, right? I'm a better person because this, this, this. Boom. And then what you're going to do is for a page or two double spaced, you are going to tell me how and why. The biggest thing is I want you to be specific. So I say answer the prompt correctly. You get 20 points for giving specific examples. I'm going to circle back to that. You also get 10 points for using at least 4 quotes, 2 from Huck and 2 from Harriet. We'll talk about the 2 from Harriet more in just a second. So that's 30 points for basically specifics, right? Both real things from your own thought process and also moments and explanations from the book. I'm going to push a lot on this one right here. I think that sometimes it's easy for us to give the right answer. I think we've talked about this before. Give the right answer or give an easy answer, or not an easy answer, but the quote-unquote right answer. I'm not looking for anything, but I do want you to be specific, right? I don't want you to say something like, Huck taught me to look at people differently and know that anyone can be my friend. Okay, that's helpful, but what specifically are you going to do with that thought? You don't have to name names if you don't want to. If there's a specific that's painful or hard for you to talk about, that's totally okay. But let me be clear that it is not enough to just say, Huck made me realize that everyone's made in the image of God. Yes, that is true, and yes, that is beautiful, but how does it change the way that we live our lives day to day, thinking about that thought process? So that's the biggest part, really, is be specific. Set things up well from the book, but also talk about what that actually might look like, either the way that it has looked or that you hope that it does look in the future. If that's hard or confusing, or if you feel like you didn't change at all from reading this book, then reach out to me and we'll talk that through. Anyway, so then you also get 10 points for spelling and grammar. And here's where I want to go back to talking about the quotes from Harriet. Up here is a whole big list that we kind of started with. These are some of the moments that I or Mr. Hiskis or Mr. Kuman or Mr. Skemper were really drawn to. Moments that made us stop and think as we were watching the film. You may totally pick any of these. You totally don't have to. I also want to say that for the quotes from the movie, I didn't give this assignment to you before you watched the movie, which maybe I should have. I just wanted you to enjoy it. If there's a moment you remember from the movie and you don't remember exactly what they said, you have two options. One, I bet if you Google it, you can find it. But two, if you remember a moment but not a specific quote from the movie, rather than going back and watching the whole movie, just kind of set that. I have seen the movie a couple of times, right? Like, just kind of set that up and explain that well. So if you don't have like a literal quote, you can just say in the movie this moment, this moment, this moment. I hope that that helps and makes sense. Let me know if that doesn't. But if there's a moment that you think works well for your overall point that isn't on here and you don't want to go find it, please don't rewatch the whole movie looking for a specific quote. You can just describe it. So there's some more context in here, some more thoughts that I have. I love the movie. I hope that you did as well. So there are all of those things. Some more explanation is in here. Feel free to read it over. But basically, like I just talked about how Huck wrestles with helping. Huck changes a lot. I think the helping is a big thing. I think that the impact that relationships have on us is kind of important. The way that people help us or don't help us, I guess, matters in both the book and the movie. And so, there are all those things. That's kind of my big overall explanation. I hope that all makes sense. Be in touch with me about what you need from me, about how I can help you process, and about a due date that makes sense for you. I like you and I miss you all, and I hope that things are going well.